Your back-to-back Los Angeles Dodgers baseball is coming up this afternoon at 12. And the talk you love is always streaming on the Odyssey, iHeartMedia, or TuneIn apps. Just search for KDAWN in Las Vegas.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Las Vegas. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Going bell to bell with the best in professional wrestling news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises from inside the squared circle. Now, let's get to all the exciting pro wrestling action and bring on the host. Here is Mark Hoke.
Good morning, Las Vegas. What's going on? Welcome to the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM. The talk of Las Vegas. It is the best in pro wrestling. Dear God, we have got explosive action all over the planet. News everywhere, wrestling everywhere. And I'm going to do my best to bring it to you because this show is sponsored by Vicks and other various cold remedies as I fight one off here. It was a rough day yesterday. I'm feeling slightly better, not dying, so that's good. But so excuse if I got a little raspiness in my voice today, going a little Stevie Nicks for you. But boy, I'll tell you what a weekend this has been and is going to be. And of course, last weekend, we didn't get to talk about Double or Nothing because it was on after the show. But believe it or not, I'm not starting there today. No siree, Bob. Today, we start in Mexico for the AAA Noche de los Grandes event that took place last night. And kids, I got to tell you, what a show. I don't know. I'll tell you, Undertaker is booking things down there, and Mr. Calloway appears to be hitting on something. He's doing all right. But if you did not know, I mean, first, the other matches on the card, there were 4 matches on this card last night. 3 titles changed hands as Laredo Kid had his 520 some odd day reign, or 539, excuse me, as the AAA Cruiserweight champion, ended by Rey Fenix. So we get to get reminded once again that Rey Fenix is really, really good. The AAA Latin American Championship match featuring El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. against El Hijo del Vikingo. And Vikingo ends up winning the Latin American Championship. We had the AAA World Tag Team Championships on the lines. The War Raiders invade Mexico and take out Psycho Clown and Pagano, and those 2 guys didn't really seem too happy with each other after the match was over. So we get 3 title changes and then the main event. There were a lot of people looking forward to this. And this was a build for probably over a year plus when you think about it. Remember when everybody said El Grande Americano? What a racist, terrible thing to do. Oh, my God. Oh, no, we can't have an American as a luchador. And totally missed the point of the story. Chad Gable couldn't beat a luchador. So he went to Mexico and found mentor and became El Grande Americano. Got a win at WrestleMania. He was supposed to wrestle Rey Mysterio, but Mysterio got hurt and ended up being Rey Fenix, which started Rey Fenix's slide, which is kind of a shame. But this whole thing just grew and grew. And then all of a sudden, El Grande Americano gets hurt. And WWE decides, you know what? This thing's doing okay. And Ludwig Kaiser, it may be Ludwig Kaiser. We're not sure. Can't say for sure. Picks up the El Grande Americano moniker. And it turns out the people in Mexico with this racist gimmick loved it. They loved El Grande, the original El Grande Americano. They loved the number 2 Grande Americano. And the showdown between the two of them finally happened yesterday. If you didn't see this match, we are talking match of the year candidate. It is a reminder, and we'll just drop the pretenses. Of course, Chad Gable had to unmask. He lost the match. But it is a reminder how good Chad Gable is. It is a reminder how good Ludwig Kaiser is. Those guys can go. And, I mean, Chad was in the Olympics, for God's sake. He knows what he's doing. But those two had an absolute war last night. The arena was going crazy. You haven't seen a pop like that for a while. And especially when you think about this, I mean, this is the Mexican tradition, AAA. And they're cheering on an American Olympian who was pretending to be a luchador, and a German who was in took on an American moniker, and turned out Ludwig knows Spanish pretty well and completely endeared himself to the fans down there. And those two guys put on a show. The match ends. Chad unmasks. He's got his family in the ring. And the crowd was going nuts for Chad after the match was over. And, of course, Chad was the heel in this whole thing. But the fans in Mexico really showed him and Ludwig a lot of love, and well deserved. This is going to be a match of the year candidate, guys. And I don't know if it'll win. We've still got a long way to go, but it's going to be up there. And, congratulations to Chad and to Ludwig for carrying this out and pulling it off when a lot of people said, this is stupid. You remember, I was on board with it. I thought it was pretty smart. I thought it was pretty funny. But I think you have to give props to both of those guys. And I really hope that it's going to remind the people at WWE the talent that they have in Chad Gable. Of course, he had that run where he couldn't win the Intercontinental title. Trying. It's time. It's time to turn this man loose. Really. And Ludwig Kaiser was part of Imperium with Gunther. And you could just see how good he is too. This is going to be fascinating to see where both of these guys go. I mean, Kaiser's got himself a home in AAA at this point. It's going to be weird to see how WWE uses him, but AAA fans absolutely adore the guy. And the biggest thing that he did was speaking Spanish in his promos. And who would have expected that from a German guy? Pretty cool stuff from El Grande Americano / Ludwig Kaiser and the original El Grande Americano, Chad Gable. Congratulations, guys. What a terrific job that they did. So way to go. And go watch that match, everybody. If you haven't seen it, I'm telling you, you're going to be in for a treat. And the whole card was good, too. Now, I usually check my reviews on Bleacher Report, and they're very fair. And they loved this card and gave the main event an A+. They don't do that very often, so There you go. Way to go, Chad. Way to go, Ludwig. Now, let's back up to last Sunday, shall we? AEW Double or Nothing. If you thought we got some good wrestling yesterday, how about last Sunday? Ooh, boy. You don't necessarily hear guys like Dave Meltzer and others say, "Oh, this was the best AEW pay-per-view ever," or pretty close. But that was pretty much a unanimous verdict on this card. Great crowd up in New York. Better not steal that event from us here in Las Vegas. It hasn't been here because of WrestleMania being here for a couple of years. But I got to give them credit, man. That crowd was fired up. Fired up. Cool pre-show. I had the Divine Dominion getting another win. The Death Riders beating the Ops. And by the way, we will not be seeing Samoa Joe for a little while. He's going to do Twisted Metal 3. Good for him. Joe, keep up the paychecks, man. Pretty awesome. Boom and Doom. That's Big Boom AJ and QT Marshall and the conglomeration. Knock off Shane Taylor Promotions. And that just kicks off the show. Cage and Cope win the AEW World Tag Team titles in a New York Street Fight I Quit match. Brutal match. Beth showed up. Good for her. Yeah, put Stokely through a table, man. Flaming table. Yikes. Stokely is just the man. You got to love that guy. But they break out Spike, and yeah, that pretty much took care of that. So Cage and Cope win their first tag titles in nearly 20 years together. That's incredible. What a lot of people said was the match of the night. Takeshita, Okada for the International Championship. Of course, this feud had been building for months and months with the strife in the Don Callis family. And Takeshita walks out with a win over Okada. And this was what we were waiting for from Okada. I don't think we have seen a match from Okada like we're used to seeing in Japan. And, I don't know if it's just the familiarity or what, but those two tore down the house. And congratulations to Takeshita for winning the International Championship. Even got Orange Cassidy to give him his backpack for the belt. So nice job. That's huge too. We had a quarterfinal for the Owen Hart Cup, and Athena, the Ring of Honor Women's Champion, longtime Ring of Honor World Champion, knocks off Mina Shirakawa. She is on her way. And just to take a fast look at the Owen Hart Cup brackets, that's the only one for the women that has gone on. But I got to tell you, I think Athena's going to come through and win this thing. You have Persephone and Hazuki on one side, a TBA and Alex Windsor on the other. Athena's advanced. She's going to meet Sky Blue or Suri. I think Athena's going all the way. And how much fun will that be to see her take on, if it ends up being Tekla? Oh, fun till Daddy takes the T-Bird away on that one. But that's where the women's Owen Hart Cup stands right now. Mox gets a win on Kyle O'Reilly, holds on to his Continental Championship. Ospreay in one of the quarterfinals for the men's side of the Owen Hart Cup beats Samoa Joe, and as we kind of knew that was coming. This looks like Ospreay's tournament. But nobody's going down without a fight, I'm going to tell you that. Swerve Strickland beats Bandito, so he advances in the tournament. And where that tournament is right now is we did have one more match on Dynamite as Mark Davis once again beats Jack Perry. So the national champ moves on. He's going to Unfortunately, he's getting fed to Will Ospreay, but Mark Davis, boy, give that guy a ton of credit. He did a spinning pile driver to beat Jack Perry. Are you serious? Wow. Swerve's going to take on Brody King. I would imagine Swerve's going to take care of business there. So we're going to get we could be getting Ospreay and Strickland at Forbidden Door. Oh, again? That'll be fun. I don't think AEW is going to pull a Swerve, though. Pun not intended. But got to look forward to that one coming up, in all probability, at Forbidden Door. All right. And we'll keep going with AEW Double or Nothing. We're going to be taking a look, of course, at Clash in Italy, too. That's coming up pretty close to after the show's over. And a whole lot more. I mean, Vince McMahon and Nick Khan and some others are in trouble. They were bad, bad boys. What happened? We'll find out when we return here on the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM, the talk of Las Vegas. We'll be right back.
COVID-19 has cast a spotlight on the stark inequalities that drive poverty. The poorest communities in the U.S. and around the world are suffering the most. Oxfam believes we can put systems in place to protect health and livelihoods in the future if we work together with dignity and compassion. Learn how you can help offer safety to the most vulnerable and fight for a more resilient future at oxfamamerica.org. Sponsored by Oxfam America.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
If you're only good to your new friends, you're not going to have any old ones. Straight Talk gets it. That's why new and existing customers get free 5G phones on Verizon's 5G network. Pretty simple, really. You keep good people by being good people.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
Wendy's new Biggie Deals lets you choose whatever you're in the mood for. It's like a music mixing board of deals, and you're the producer. Go with some chill folk music with a JBC in the $4 Biggie Bite snack. Try the drum and bass of deals with a double stack in the $6 Biggie bag. Or go full-on sandwich symphony with an $8 Biggie bundle, the grand finale of snacking. And the best part? They all come with napkins. $4, $6, and $8 Biggie Deals how you want them. At Wendy's.
Price and participation may vary. Single items at regular price. Prices may be higher in Alaska, California, and Hawaii.
1 in 4 Americans have a disability. I'm one of them. I'm also a working mom who cares deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at easterseals.com.
We're here with Chuck, founder of Dollar Loan Center. It looks like you have locations all over Southern Nevada.
Yes, sir. Over 25 area locations. You never have to travel far in Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, Henderson, Pahrump, Mesquite, or Laughlin to find a DLC. But the best part is saving the drive altogether and applying from the comfort of your couch at don'tbebroke.com.
I kind of like stopping by.
Good call, and it's really worth the drive. We've been processing our $5,000 short-term loans over 28 years, and our customers just love doing business with the DLC. In nearly every instance, we're around half the cost of the payday and title lenders.
Founded in Las Vegas over 28 years ago, DLC lends up to $5,000 in minutes. Stop by any of our 25 nearby locations to meet our real friendly staff. You can also apply over the phone or online at don'tbebroke.com.
Subject to approval, limitations may apply. See website for details. 101.5 FM, KDAWN.
This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Here again, your host, Mark Hoke.
Oh, guys, I'm hanging in there. Oh, I've only got, an hour and a half to go. No big deal. Oh, this is rough. Oh, another bronchial episode for me. I'll tell you. But hey, we're having fun talking pro wrestling and a lot of great stuff happening. Man, Clash of Italy coming up Thing starts at 10:30 Pacific time because they're overseas. So we're kind of a pre-show for them today. That's all right. And of course, don't forget, we are broadcasting on KDAWN 101.5 FM, the Talk of Las Vegas. Also streaming on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. If you get that up, you know what? Maybe I'll feel better. So help me out. Download that app right now, AUDACY. 220 stations in the Odyssey family. Promise you'll find something you like. And of course, we are live streaming on X, YouTube, and Facebook. And we would love to hear from you. Hop in the chat box, check out the comments, say hi, give us your thoughts on everything that's going on. Because, man, what a busy, busy week it's been. And we even had an injury on Saturday night's main event. Logan Paul getting hurt last Saturday, tore his tricep. And by the way, did you see the video that he put up? Real quick. They knew it was bad. And they just walked right into that locker room and took his World Tag Team Championship belt. Braun Breaker is now the other co-holder along with Austin Theory. But boy, that Vision group has just been unbelievably snake bit. Everybody's gotten hurt. If I was Austin Theory, I'd be walking around in bubble wrap. But yeah, that was cold, man. That was cold. And by the way, Tube Man in the chat box, are you going to talk about the New Japan ownership change because WWE Universe is keeping close? Yes. Yes, I will be talking about that later on in the show. It's on the list. I have a long list today. You know, as I go through the week, I'm usually bookmarking stuff and, you know, here's a bunch of stories that I need to hit. And man, I got a long, long list this week. But let's get back to Double or Nothing, shall we? So Tekla wins the retains the women's world championship. She beats Hikaru Shida, Jamie Hayter, Chris Statlander. That leads to a street fight with Shida and Statlander on Dynamite where Shida took a knot on her head. Ouch. But Tekla continues to be dominant, and I'll tell you what's swagger with that woman. I don't know when you take the belt off her. At some point, I guess you do. Somewhere down the road, but I don't think that's anytime soon. She's awesome. Stadium Stampede match gets all crazy. Jericho Hurt Syndicate Elite knock off the Demand, two members of the Don Callis family, and the Dogs. And we want to thank the New York State Athletic Commission for making that match less fun. It was still really fun, but you can't help the crowd in their blood. Geez, why don't you send Mondami and Hoke down there to tax everybody before they walk out of the building? God, New York sucks right now. Ugh. Other than the crowd. Good job, guys. And then MJF beats Darby Allin. And this has been an interesting subject for speculation over the past week is now MJF's the champ again. Gets a little help from Kevin Knight, the TBS champ, by the way. He turns heel because he was mad at Darby. No, I'm not necessarily too thrilled on the logic on that, but okay. But now MJF, the big question is, does he make it to All In? Guys, we've got 2 pay-per-views coming up between here and All In. They just added one. We've got Forbidden Door on June 28th, and then they just threw in a new one. So they're going to be doing AEW Redemption on July 26th at the Bell Center in Montreal. So I'll tell you what, they're going to have to, MJF's going to have a lot of work to do to hang on. Is that your main event? You guys in the chat box especially, hey, tell me what you think. Do you think that we get to MJF and Will Ospreay, or, heard a lot of speculation. People think Kenny Omega is going to find a way to get in there and main event All In against Ospreay. I mean, I have no objections. One thing that I think that both AEW and WWE should be considering is because with the incredible amount of talent that they've got, I mean, they're loaded. And they're loaded at the top. you have double-digit guys in both companies that you could legitimately say on any given night could be the world champion. Do you hot shot this belt a little bit? It's pretty a pretty interesting decision for them. Maybe it's not going to be a one-on-one at All In. I don't know. But it is fun to speculate. But does MJF hang on? It's going to be interesting. I still think you got to put your top guy in there. And even though I hate to see MJF lose another main event at All In, I still want to see him. He's the top attraction. Unless you've got something else cooked up for MJF that would be better than him wrestling for the world title or defending the world championship. I don't know. So give me your opinions, guys. What do you think on that one? It's going to be a lot of fun. Man, look, like Javon Campbell in the chat box. Man, the Death Riders are going to screw Ospreay somehow. Yeah, you got to wonder where that's going. Of course, Moxley already has a title. So him beating MJF, at least for now, probably not a possibility. I don't know if I really see him being the Death Riders getting at, but that would be interesting if something happened to Owen Hart. You give Swerve the main event at All In. But I think it's time for Ospreay. We'll see. We'll see. But this pay-per-view, by the way, just absolutely knocked it out of the park. Not just in terms of how it did, or the wrestling, but man, they made some coin. They have stated that this thing was about 15% over one of their top shows, the last show, and man, they are just absolutely loving it. They think this is going to be approaching last year's All In. Not 100% sure, but this is going to be very interesting to see where these final numbers come out. But boy, they did well. And, just overall, the irony, and I feel bad about it, is that the two women's matches were probably the least favorite matches of the group. But that card was just fantastic, top to bottom. And, and it's funny because you sit there and some people say, well, AEW doesn't do stories. They don't do stories. What are you talking about? Cage and Cope and FTR, there wasn't a lead up for that has been going on for months. Athena has been dominating Ring of Honor, and she may be getting her shot to win the Women's World Championship at All In. That'll be fun. Mox and O'Reilly, that was one that O'Reilly had been beating Moxley, and finally Mox turned that around. You have the Owen Hart Cup, which is leading to somebody wrestling for the World Championship. We had a lot of fun in the Stadium Stampede match, and of course MJF Darby Allin, a longtime rivalry. What more do you want? I mean, I'm sorry, Danhausen isn't there anymore. But AEW is absolutely on a roll right now. And, the one thing I think they just have to kind of figure out is, can they get to a point where they're back to Dynamite having 10,000 people in the stands instead of 4? They've got to somehow, some way pull those people back in. And I don't know. I think that they made some mistakes in terms of things. And the biggest problem that I had with AEW, too much blood in the matches, too much color. And they backed off on that. But it takes time for people to really realize what they've got there. I mean, their media people are fantastic. They've got guys out there all the time doing interviews. It's not like they're just sitting around doing nothing. But I'm sure it's probably sitting in Tony's craw a little bit that he'd like to get back to that point. And if he can, now all of a sudden, that's a rivalry. But I think the one thing that AEW is doing that WWE isn't, and I heard my good friend Ricky Chino from Sports Illustrated on Busted Open Rio, and congratulations to him on that gig, by the way. But Rick, just was talking about how, he used the word flatline, and I know that Mark Henry didn't like that very much. But it's more of a status quo kind of thing. And we're going to talk about that when we talk about Clash in Italy in the next hour. Because WWE could use some sort of creative shot in the arm. The question is, how do you do it without screwing things up? Are you happy coasting along, or you take some chances? We'll talk about what chances WWE could possibly be taking with Clash of Italy in the next hour. But just a lot happening with AEW right now as they continue to push for some serious success right now. And look, and they're being creative too. They only had the indoor golf course matches. And now they are doing, on July 10th, they're doing an AEW Brawl in the Ballpark. After the Twins game, they're going to be having a few matches. Are you kidding me? Look, Tony, and this is the thing, that Tony has so many connections in the sports and entertainment world. Having run the Jaguars and all the business dealings that they've done, the Khan family's done. And this is going to be interesting to see. Tony is just pulling out every creative stop he can. And look, if you're at a Twins game, and July 10th, I believe that is on, let me take a look here real quick. That's on a Friday night. So no reason to leave the ballpark. Have some fun. Watch some wrestling. And the Twins are playing okay, so should have a decent crowd. Creative stuff from AEW. Got to give them their credit. Some other AEW news, by the way. We saw Jake Doyle is back. And of course, he was Jake something in TNA and then debuted and tore his bicep. He is back. And a lot of people very excited about that. And he is a good dude. We interviewed him a while back, and very excited to see what is going to be in store for him, because that is a guy who has a ton of potential. He is a monster. I don't know if he's Mark Henry strong, but he's pretty strong. So he's going to be back. Jim Ross's contract, but also expiring apparently in August, and he took another fall before the pay-per-view. Oh man. Jim, we love Jim Ross to death, and it's obviously it's going to be up to AEW if they want to re-sign him or not. But I don't know. Jim has gone through so much, and it's one of those things where with Jim, he's doing what he loves, and it's so hard when that gets taken away, especially at the age that he's at. But at the same time, man, we gotta watch out for JR too. I don't know anything happened to Jim. So that's going to be an interesting decision by AEW if they keep him on. I wouldn't see why not. And by the way, Ciampa, I got to give him credit too. If you missed it, he's in a feud with Chris Jericho, and he decided to give 1,004 reasons why he hates Chris Jericho, which was hilarious. He brought out the list just like Chris Jericho did on WCW. I mean, that was pretty funny. So give our friend Tommaso Ciampa some credit on that as they continue the feud with Chris Jericho. All right, let's take another break, and we have got a whole lot more coming up on the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM Talk of Las Vegas, also streaming on the Odyssey app. And give us a follow on X at Mark Hoke Show, where we're broadcasting. We're also broadcasting on YouTube and Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, so you can join in the fun there. Instagram and TikTok, The Mark Hoke Show as well. And I apologize. We'll get some clips up, I promise. I've just been really sick the last few days. Stick around, everybody. We'll be right back.
Enjoy the steak and shrimp special at Jerry's Nugget for only $16.89. Savor the goodness as you slice into a juicy 8-ounce New York steak cooked to order. Then let a succulent, freshly prepared pan-fried shrimp melt in your mouth. So good. Jerry's Steak and Shrimp is served 7 days a week, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m., and comes with choice of super salad, choice of potato, and garlic bread. Now that's a classy deal for $16.89. Visit Jerry's Nugget Casino today, your kind of place.
Jerry's Nugget Casino, your kind of place.
You've got better things to do this summer than deal with old appliances. That's why right now at Lowe's, you can still get in on Memorial Day savings and get up to 45% off select major appliances. Plus, get up to an additional 25% off when you bundle select major appliances. It's time to upgrade what's outdated. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 6/3. While supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Now that Wendy's has these new biggie deals, everyone in the family can get what they're craving, from nugs to JBCs. The parental units can get an $8 biggie bundle, the eldest who think they're so grown can get a $6 biggie bag, and the little one who can do no wrong can get a $4 biggie bites. You know, assuming they have a credit card. No, I'm kidding. We take cash too. 4, 6, and $8 biggie deals for the whole family. Only at Wendy's.
Price of participation may vary. Single items at regular price. Prices may be higher in Alaska, California, and Hawaii.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers. So we build specially adapted homes at Homes for Our Troops. And thanks to our donors and supporters, this life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free to these veterans. But we need you to join us too in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
This deer season, John Deere wants to give you the home field advantage. We're bringing you the best offers of the season, whether that's cash off on select new machines or a shot at the ultimate Major League Baseball prize package. Because right now, you can enter for a chance to win an MLB All-Star experience for you and 3 friends, complete with travel and lodging for All-Star Week this July. Deer season is going on now through June 3rd. Visit johndeere.com/deer season to enter and view the offers and complete contest rules. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
Too many young people in our community are struggling to meet their basic needs. Some are sleeping in cars, couch surfing, or going without enough food. Shannon West Homeless Youth Center, part of Help of Southern Nevada, provides shelter, meals, employment support, and a path to stability for youth ages 18 to 24. You can help a young person feel safe and seen. Donate today at helpsonv.org. That's helpsonv.org. This message is sponsored by Help of Southern Nevada, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
101.5 FM KDAWN.
You're listening to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Vegas, The Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Now, here again is Mark Hoke.
Yeah, I'm not bopping around or anything right now. Ugh. Fighting off another cold. Jeez, but I'm hanging in there just for you guys because I love you. Thanks for tuning into the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM, the Talk of Las Vegas. Most highly rated live show on our station. Well, hey, man, we got to keep it local a little bit. And of course, Google loves us. If you didn't see that, that was pretty cool. Saying we're one of the top pro wrestling radio shows on the planet. Appreciate that, Google AI. Way to go. Even Google AI has good taste. Some other interesting news surrounding AEW and around the wrestling world. We're going to save some more of it for later. But the TBS championship that has been vacated by Willow Nightingale due to injury will be decided on July 1st in a survival of the fittest match. So we're going to see some qualifiers. There'll be 6 people in that match. Last woman standing walks out with the TBS championship. That could be anybody. I don't know. Maybe it's time to bring Britt Baker back. Oh, God, I'd love to know why she is just not on TV. Wouldn't it be fun to just sit in Tony Khan's office for a little while and just be like, just listen? Maybe have a friend call in and say, what's up with Britt? Next time I talk to him, I'll ask him. But yeah, so survival of the fittest, July 1 to determine a new AEW TBS champion. Some interesting news in terms of the Paramount merger. Of course, Paramount buying Warner Brothers Discovery. And that is going to be pretty interesting because right now, a lot of people are speculating, they're not going to keep them around. Paramount's got UFC, which is under TKO. Well, guess what? A rep for Paramount said, you know what? And I applaud them for making this statement. We don't work for UFC. They work for us. And said they have no problem with those guys, with AEW being on Paramount. And this was according to Fightful Select. So it's a favorable situation. A source from Paramount has repeatedly claimed that despite Paramount's airing TKO's UFC, there will be no issues with exclusivity that would prevent AEW from being aired too. Another Paramount source also stated the UFC worked for Paramount, not the other way around. Good for them. Why would you not want to control that? That's crazy. If WWE, WWE doesn't have a deal with Paramount. And look, I get, you don't want to make TKO mad, but AEW continues to grow. And if you can keep that on your, in your roster of shows, once this is all over, no brainer. To me, it's a no brainer. But I think it's fascinating that somebody from Paramount finally spoke up and said, hey, the tail isn't wagging the dog here. Good for them. And quite frankly, when you look at some of the deals that WWE has pulled off, look, let's be frank. They should still be on Fox. But they're not. Because WWE didn't prove their value to them. ESPN reportedly not that happy either. ESPN is bending over backwards for WWE. They're putting personalities on their shows all over the place. They'll be airing the first couple of matches today on ESPN. And I believe one of them's Cody and Gunther. So look, ESPN's trying to get everything out of this, but they didn't pick up that many subscribers when this thing first got rolling. So, good for Paramount to stand up and say, we're gonna make a good business decision here. There was another business decision got made that this will be quite the ground shaker over in Japan, as New Japan was sold. Bushiroad, the organization that was responsible for a popular trading card series before it bought New Japan Pro Wrestling from the video game company THQ, sold its stake to Cyber Agent, the parent company of Cyber Fight, who also owns Pro Wrestling Noah and DDT. So right now, this is a seismic shift here. Well, you got to wonder, look, things have taken unfortunately a downturn over there. And one theory about it is that AEW raided all their talent. Not intentionally, but the cooperation between the two stung them a little bit. When the door opens up, because that forbidden door, there was a reason that door was forbidden. Japan didn't want to lose their people. I mean, look, if you can wrestle in the United States for a WWE or an AEW over New Japan, yeah, I'm probably gonna take wrestling in the U.S. So pretty interesting stuff there. And I see some questions coming up about SummerSlam and some other stuff. I promise we're going to get to that in hour number 2 because we're going to talk about Clash of Italy as we get ready for that show coming up just a half hour after we're done here. But yeah, New Japan sold, baby. Well, I'm just really surprised at that, but to a point. But I knew they were in a little bit of trouble, so it was a getting out while the getting was good on that one. We also had a very interesting, some other interesting sales that took place this week. Progress and Defy have been bought by Big Damo, who WWE fans would know as Killian Dane, and Nikki Cross. So Big Damo and Nikki Cross are now owning 2 of the top independent promotions in Europe. Wow. That's pretty big. Pretty big news there. So good for them. As that'll be fun to see how well they run that. They're 2 smart people. I mean, they're not going to be messing around very much. So congratulations to Big Damo and Nikki Cross for buying Progress and Defy. Wow, that's something. By the way, Danhausen had a very interesting discussion as he was in a little mentoring session. So Big Dan was out of the makeup and talking to some young skulls full of mush in pro wrestling, and came up with some ideas about telling everybody how they should be handling things. And it was fascinating that, he essentially said, look, there's things that I'm not good at, but what I am good at, I'm going to dig in and nail it. Try to hide the rest of the stuff. But, what I can do, I'm going to do to the best of my ability. And that's the way he's always been. Look, Danhausen, it wasn't like Danhausen was a secret or anything like that. We all knew about Danhausen. But Danhausen certainly has capitalized on everything with WWE. The curse of the Cavaliers. Ouch. That is rough. But that moment, it made it, it's not real. But that's one of the things that when you kind of blur the line a little bit, say, did this guy really just curse the Cleveland Cavaliers? Boy, they lost a 22-point lead with 7 minutes to go in game 1 and couldn't win a game after that. Did he really do that? Because the Knicks usually blow those games. Interesting. With Danhausen giving some interesting advice to everybody. Oh, boy, I'll tell you. Like I said, I apologize. I am fighting a cold off today. But we're going to be getting ready for Clash in Italy coming up here at 10:30 Pacific time. Well, I do want to take a second to remind everybody about the 27th annual George Tragos Luthez Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame ceremonies, July 9th through the 11th, going on in the Waterloo Convention Center and National Wrestling Hall of Fame Dan Gable Museum. Honorees are going to include Nick Nemeth, who's going to be going into the Hall of Fame and well-deserved, along with the Welch Fuller Wrestling Dynasty Jazz Rodney Mack and historian Tony Richards will be honored at that ceremony. So you may want to go check that out. The George Tragos Luthez Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. And a lot of people feel that is the true Hall of Fame as opposed to the WWE Hall of Fame. But pretty fascinating stuff. So find your way out to Iowa. And I know it sounds a little crazy, but it's worth the trip. July 9th through 11th, Waterloo Convention Center. All right. That is going to send us into hour number 2. And we get ready for Clash in Italy. And you guys are in chat box. I want to hear your opinions about this. Because WWE, is it time to make a splash like draft day? Does the owner walk down and say, Trips, we need to make a splash? I hear a shiny new world champion can do that. Does it happen today? We'll discuss that and a whole lot more coming up in hour number 2 of the Mark Hoke Show. Follow us on X at Mark Hoke Show, YouTube and Facebook, The Mark Hoke Show, also Instagram and TikTok, The Mark Hoke Show as well. We'll see you on the other side of the break, everybody.
Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, and visit markhokeshow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join The Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.
While retinitis pigmentosa takes Mark's vision, his family gives him hope, whether at the family business or at home with his wife and sons. He knows he's not fighting alone. For 50 years, the Foundation Fighting Blindness has funded research into treatments and cures for blinding retinal diseases, providing hope to people with vision loss. And for Mark, winning the fight means being there for his family. The Foundation Fighting Blindness. Together, we're winning. Help us end blinding diseases at fightingblindness.org.
This deer season, John Deere wants to give you the home field advantage. We're bringing you the best offers of the season, whether that's cash off on select new machines or a shot at the ultimate Major League Baseball prize package. Because right now, you can enter for a chance to win an MLB All-Star experience for you and 3 friends, complete with travel and lodging for All-Star Week this July. Deer season is going on now through June 3rd. Visit johndeere.com/deer season to enter and view the offers and complete contest rules. Major League Baseball trademarks used with
May is Wildfire Awareness Month, and every Nevadan has a role to play. Wildfire doesn't wait. It moves fast, driven by wind, heat, and dry conditions in the Nevada high desert. It only takes one spark to put lives, homes, and communities at risk in minutes. Become wildfire ready with 3 simple actions. First, make a plan. Know your evacuation routes. Pack a disaster supply bag. Sign up for local emergency alerts. Second, prepare your home. Clear dead vegetation. Clean your roof and gutters. Move anything flammable away from your home. Creating defensible space can save your property and your life. Third, know before you go. On red flag warning days, avoid activities that can spark a fire, like a backyard fire pit or target shooting. For more information, visit oem.nv.gov. Sponsored by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the Nevada Office of Emergency Management Homeland Security, and your local emergency manager's office, in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
My neighbor used to keep his house nice and tidy. He dressed sharp, too. Now, I don't know, things have been off. The lawn's overgrown, trash just sits there. He doesn't even comb his hair anymore. Could it be his new friend that's been coming around? He says he's fine, but I'm worried. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Something just doesn't feel right. I can't keep pretending everything's okay. Hi, I'd like to file a report. Trust your instincts. Make the tough call. Report neglect to Adult Protective Services anonymously. Call 888-729-0571 or visit nevada211.org/APS. This message is sponsored by Adult Protective Services, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
KMXB HD3 Henderson, K268CS Las Vegas. Always live on the free Odyssey app. 1015 FM KDAWN.
We're still waiting. I'm Paul Stevens, Fox News. President Trump has reportedly responded to a peace deal that U.S. and Iranian negotiators reached last week.
Reports indicate President Trump is holding the line in negotiations with Iran, demanding several amendments to the proposed agreement during a Situation Room meeting late last week. Now, the president spoke with Fox News over the weekend, indicating the United States is very close to a good deal. President Trump making clear the military option remains on the table if Iran doesn't sign his his deal. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth traveled to Singapore, where he echoed President Trump's desire to reach an agreement with Iran, adding that the U.S. military capabilities are the most powerful incentive for Iran to give up its nuclear ambitions.
And that's Fox's Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv. Meantime, Israeli troops capturing a strategic mountain-topped with a Crusader-built castle in southern Lebanon. This, they say, in the deepest incursion to the country in more than a quarter century by Israeli forces. Protests, meantime, continue outside an ICE facility in New Jersey, where protesters say detainees are holding a hunger strike over poor living conditions.
State officials say protesters started breaching into the zone set up for law enforcement, pressing up against those police barricades and shields. Police had to disperse the crowd using tear gas and flashbang grenades. Authorities accuse some people of starting a fire on the streets. The New Jersey Attorney General's office says some protesters Saturday evening also refused to follow orders to make way for cars driving employees out of Delaney Hall. They say most people gathered outside complied with the state police's request to clear a pathway. A limited number did not comply and took dangerous actions, including deploying fireworks and throwing gas canisters at law enforcement.
And that is Fox's Madeline Rivera. America is listening to Fox News.
Fox News Books has boasted a host of bestsellers. Now, Fox News Books enters the world of podcasting. This season, the Fox News Books podcast presents The Miracles Among Us. For its first season, Fox News Books will present this special podcast brought to you by the author, Fox News senior medical analyst, Dr. Mark Siegel. The Miracles Among Us on the Fox News Books podcast. Listen and follow now at foxnewspodcasts.com or wherever you download podcasts.
Hello, everyone. This is Ainsley Earhart. Thank you for joining me for the 52-episode podcast series, The Life of Jesus.
Neil McDonough portrays Jesus. Stacey Keach, Sean Astin, Michael York, and Kristen Bell provide the voices for some of Jesus's notable followers. A listening experience that will provide hope, comfort, and understanding of the greatest story ever told, The Life of Jesus.
Make sure to spread the word.
Listen and follow now at foxnewspodcasts.com or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Your back-to-back Los Angeles Dodgers baseball is coming up this afternoon at 12. And the talk you love is always streaming on the Odyssey, iHeartMedia, or TuneIn apps. Just search for KDAWN in Las Vegas.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Las Vegas. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Going bell to bell with the best in professional wrestling news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises from inside the squared circle. Now, let's get to all the exciting pro wrestling action and bring on the host. Here is Mark Hoke.
And we are back for hour number 2 of the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN. 101.5 FM, the talk of Las Vegas. Very happy to have you joining us today. I'm barely breathing, but that's okay. Why not? You know, if you gotta die doing something you love, right? Ugh. But boy, this has been an incredible week of pro wrestling, and it ain't over yet. I mean, these last 8 or 9 days have been sensational. And we are getting some comments in the chat box, talking about what happened at AAA last night. I'm gonna get back to, we talked about at the top of the last hour, but we'll come back around and maybe talk about the futures of Chad Gable and whoever that guy is under the mask of El Grande Americano, Ludwig Kaiser. But we have an intriguing show today for WWE, and this is going to be an opportunity, if WWE wants it, to break the mold a little bit today. Question is, do they have the guts to pull the trigger? So let's go through these matches, because I think there's some fascinating decisions that WWE could make as we head into SummerSlam season. So the first one is Becky Lynch and Sol Ruca for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. And I'm just going to say this. I hate to say it. Sol isn't quite ready yet. I'm sorry. You can't botch your finisher a couple of times and then win this championship. And that, to me, two problems that WWE has with their booking sometimes. Number one, the house shows would help that. Getting somebody like that, the repetitions, especially when, and in front of a live crowd, especially when, you're fairly new and you're putting, she's gone in against Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch right off the bat. And I just don't know if that's a good idea. Man, they love to bring these guys up, and it's into the deep end for you, pal. I mean, look at Obafemi. Well, you know what? Let's see who we're going to put you up against. It. Oh, we're going to do a WrestleMania match against Brock Lesnar. Okay. But I think Becky is going to hold on to her title here. We'll give Sol a little time. But now hopefully they didn't hurt her too much. But we'll see if she, maybe she wins this tonight. I don't know. But I would lean towards Becky Lynch. Obafemi and Brock Lesnar 2. Now this one. Boy, there's a million ways you could go with this. Who goes over with Obafemi and Brock Lesnar? It looks like you're setting up towards Brock Lesnar getting a retirement match at SummerSlam. Do you have Femi beat him again? And then Lesnar says, look, if I'm going to take you on one more time, a last man stand match, or, something along those lines. Sorry to steal that, Rick, but it was pretty good. Do we do that at SummerSlam and Lesnar gets retired there? Do we give Brock the win? And Oba has to work his way back and try to beat Brock at SummerSlam there, which I would imagine he would. I mean, I can't see if this goes into a third match that you would see Obafemi lose the third match. You're not going to bury him like that. So this is going to be intriguing today. I'm going to lead towards Oba winning. This was my concern when they set this whole thing up in the first place, was I didn't want to see Oba getting beat by Brock Lesnar. Now, WrestleMania, okay, that was a huge win for him. Can he take a loss to Brock at Clash of Italy today? Probably. It wouldn't be that bad. But yeah, I don't know. This will be interesting to see where WWE takes this match today. Rhea Ripley, Jade Cargill. Another interesting match with Rhea having just won the title at WrestleMania from Jade. First title defense. Do you take it off Rhea and put it back on Jade? Look, Michin and JFab have been doing all right working with her. Jade is, stepping up her game, and she definitely did what she needed to do at WrestleMania. Once again, this is a very interesting decision for them. Do you push Rhea off to the side a little bit and let your future superstar go on a run? Look, she's charismatic. There's no doubt about that. And, I heard her be called captivating. And she is. I mean, there's nobody in wrestling that looks like her. Once again, this is going to be a really interesting decision for WWE. Is do you push Jade Cargill down the ladder a little bit? Or do you put her back on top? Now you got your WrestleMania moment for Rhea, but now it's time to turn Jade loose. Tough call. Here's another tough call. Cody and Gunther. I know the betting odds on this match have been pretty much coming in dead even. There is part of me that really, really wants to see Gunther win this match. And and I'll be frank, I think he should. Look, I don't necessarily 100% agree with Kevin Nash's, heel, chase the heel all the time. But I think it would do Cody some good. And I'll be frank. Cody's got some villain in him. You hear him talk, and sometimes, I gotta say it. It's nothing against Cody, but when he's just normally talking and not doing one of his super fired up promos, he comes off as a little bit of a douchebag, don't you think? Just a little. He said to Gunther, well, yeah, I'm in it for the spotlight and everything else, but you are too. It's like, I don't know. Then you got the main event. Now, we heard Jacob Fatu got hurt a couple nights ago over in Europe. So there's apparently a slim possibility that he may not be able to wrestle tonight. I couldn't imagine that he's going to miss that match. He'd have to be crippled to miss that match. But I think this is the most fascinating match of them all. Why would you set this up? Now, Jacob already lost, loses his mind after the match, calls for tribal combat. Does WWE take the chance and have Jacob Fatu become the head of the table and the WWE World Champion? There are two sides to this. Number one, gets you a new face, puts Roman in a very different situation than what we've seen him in. We watched him for all those years as win and win and win and win and win, even though you would have expected at some point he was gonna lose, but he didn't. And even WrestleMania 39 when Cody lost to him there. I think everybody in LA thought that Cody was going to win that night. Do you take a chance and put the belt on Jacob Fatu and see what he can do? Or do you leave it with Roman? Do you maybe do a slow build with Jacob being under Roman's thumb? You defied me. My Usos are okay with me, but you got to learn some discipline, sir. And have Roman just torture him for months. I think either way would work. But I'll be honest with you. I think that it would be fascinating to see Jacob win this title tonight. I really do. WWE needs some new blood on top. And just to make things interesting, and I mentioned this in the last hour, you have so many great superstars in WWE. And, they've been kind of getting held back a little bit. You had Cody up there, just being dominant. You had Roman before that, years of dominance. And you had a little bit of movement in the World Championship, but that was more because of injury than anything else. Do you have the guts to take a chance and have Jacob Fatu step up? Put him in there. I think it would be fun. I can see it going either way today, but I think it would be pretty exciting to see Roman in a very different light. Could you imagine Jacob Fatu bossing Roman Reigns around? Roman would be seething. And the King of the Ring tournament's coming up. Can't forget that. You think Jacob's going to be too excited to give Roman a rematch, but if Roman would enter the King of the Ring tournament and win it, he'd have to. Unless Roman decides he would want to get Cody or Gunther, but I would think he'd want to come back up for Jacob and try to get him in the ring again and win back the Ulafala. But this is going to be a test for WWE to see how bold they can be with their booking. It really is. All of these matches, maybe, and even Becky and Soul. You can see any one of these 10 people that are wrestling tonight win. You really could. But it's going to take guts to pull the trigger on some of these. It really is. Do you push Rhea back down? Do you say, okay, Jade, it's time. We're going to put our faith in you. Or do you that match is going to show how much faith they've got in Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill, or with Jade Cargill, because if they don't feel like she's there, Rhea beats her. Well, where does Jade go? What are you going to do, make her the U.S. champ? Come on. There's tiers to this thing. And while I certainly understand that, you could do that, I don't know. I don't know if you could do that to Jade or not. So we have some comments in the chat box, by the way. New Music Inferno, that's a new one. Said howdy to me. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm dying, but I'm here for all of you. Rhea is going to win. Gunther wins. See? There is a lot of disagreement on how this could go today. I may stay in the studio a little bit and watch match before I have to head over to my other job. But man, you can see Gunther winning. You can see Cody winning. You can see Rhea winning. You can see Jade winning. Roman, Jacob, Oba, Brock. And Becky and Saul. Any one of those matches could go either way. I really believe that. So we'll see what they're cooking up in the creative room at WWE. How important, you guys that are in the chat box, how important do you think it is for WWE to make a splash today? I think they need to. I think they've got to shake things up just a little bit. I think that when you've seen some of these premium live events that they've done that aren't the big ones, they're kind of uneventful. Saturday night's main event, while, you're giving some other people chances, you're still not seeing necessarily the title changes or anything like that. So I'm curious. This is going to be some intrigue for World Wrestling Entertainment coming up today with Clash of Italy. All right, I got to take a break because I am going to be coughing for the next 30 seconds to a minute. Stick around. We got a whole lot more on the Mark Hoke Show. Give me your thoughts on Clash in Italy. What you thought about the AAA card. And boy, Vince McMahon and Nick Khan, among others, in a little bit of trouble. We'll talk about it when we return. Stick around on the Mark Hoke Show. We'll be right back.
Need to sell your house fast? Whether you're facing foreclosure, stuck with bad tenants, or just ready for a fresh start, House Buyer Network can help. We buy homes as is for cash. No fees, no commissions, no repairs. Get a fair cash offer in just 24 hours and close in as little as 7 days. Call 833-719-5877 now for your free no-obligation offer. That's 833-719-5877. House Buyer Network. Fast cash, no hassle.
Offers are typically below market value in exchange for speed and convenience. Call for details.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
Trust is earned. That's why I've stuck with Straight Talk. Same price since 2009 on Verizon's 5G network. Cause shoot, anyone can make a promise. Keeping it for years, that means something.
Now plans starting at $25 a month with 4 lines. Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Same price claim applies only to the base monthly price of our $45 plan from October 2009 to present.
Wendy's new Biggie Deals lets you choose whatever you're in the mood for. It's like a music mixing board of deals, and you're the producer. Go with some chill folk music with a JBC in the $4 Biggie Bite snack. Try the drum and bass of deals with a double stack in the $6 Biggie bag. Or go full-on sandwich symphony with an $8 Biggie bundle, the grand finale of snacking. And the best part? They all come with napkins. $4, $6, and $8 Biggie Deals how you want them at Wendy's.
Price and participation may vary. Single items at regular price. Prices may be higher in Alaska, California, and Hawaii.
You've got better things to do this summer than deal with old appliances. That's why right now at Lowe's, you can still get in on Memorial Day savings and get up to 45% off select major appliances. Plus, get up to an additional 25% off when you bundle select major appliances. It's time to upgrade what's outdated. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 6/3. While supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for more details.
May is Wildfire Awareness Month, and every Nevadan has a role to play. Wildfire doesn't wait. It moves fast, driven by wind, heat, and dry conditions in the Nevada high desert. It only takes one spark to put lives, homes, and communities at risk in minutes. Become wildfire ready with 3 simple actions. First, make a plan. Know your evacuation routes. Pack a disaster supply bag. Sign up for local emergency alerts. Second, prepare your home. Clear dead vegetation. Clean your roof and gutters. Move anything flammable away from your home. Creating defensible space can save your property and your life. Third, know before you go. On red flag warning days, avoid activities that can spark a fire, like a backyard fire pit or target shooting. For more information, visit oem.nv.gov. Sponsored by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the Nevada Office of Emergency Management Homeland Security, and your local emergency manager's office, in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
1015 FM KDAWN.
This is the Mark Hoke Show.
The Mark Hoke Show.
Here again, your host, Mark Hoke.
All right, let's get back to it. The best of pro wrestling news and entertainment here on the Mark Hoke Show. Thank you for joining us on KDAWN 1015 FM. The Talk of Las Vegas, also streaming on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. You download that app, you get to hear all the great shows on KDAWN. You get to hear all the terrific shows all over the Odyssey network of 220 radio stations, plus special podcasts. Man, you will not close that app. Plus, you can just listen to me over and over for a while, which is great. So check it out right now, Odyssey, AUDACY. We are also streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, having a great old time. And but, by the way, we have the coolest listeners, the ones that, especially you guys, we need to get more of you out there into the chat boxes. Like, I get this question. Do you see Shane McMahon return to WWE by SummerSlam, Minnesota? No. No, I do not. Tube Man 316. Sorry. Javon Campbell, 8357. I want KO to return at SummerSlam and kick Shane O'Mac right back out again. So that was a little follow. We got a little comment on comment crime going on in the chat box. But yeah, Kevin's got to be coming back soon. He's been working out from what we understand. Kevin Owens needs to be the world champion. The undisputed champion. That would be intriguing. How about Kevin Owens and Gunther facing off? If Gunther would happen to knock Cody out. That's the thing about WWE right now. They have so many talented individuals there that they could call upon. And I know when I was I've been listening to Busted Open to Pro Wrestling Radio 24/7 on Sirius, and my friend Ricky Chino and Mark Henry were talking about this stuff. Yeah, it's just a lot of fun possibilities. But you don't want to necessarily, like they were talking about Jacob Fatu winning the championship, and then you lock him until WrestleMania, and that blocks everybody else. And I totally agree with that. I think it's time maybe to start hot shotting that title a little bit, or hot potatoing. there are a lot, we back to the Attitude Era. And look, a lot of the belts got treated like toys in that era. But, the tag titles, IC titles, all those just got blah. But I do think that right now it wouldn't be bad. Same with AEW. So much talent there. You could really have some fun with this and do a neat build to WrestleMania. Look, what if, say, 4 people end up winning the Undisputed Championship and you get to WrestleMania with a bunch of guys and women? Same thing on the women's side. Liv Morgan is just sitting there doing nothing right now while Stephanie Vaquer's out. But you could have a pretty cool match set up long term if you let's say Jacob wins and Roman wins. Maybe somebody knocks off Roman, or you have Cody and Gunther, and maybe Kevin Owens comes back, knocks him off, and maybe Seth Rollins comes in and takes care of business. Who knows? I mean, look, there's a lot of intriguing possibilities. And as you go through and you decide you want to run somebody long term again, well, look, did anybody think Cody was going to lose up until that Drew McIntyre match? No. And that's part of I think that's part of the problem. I mean, one thing that WWE did back in the Hulk Hogan era was they did a really good job presenting a lot of those heels as legitimate threats to Hogan. I mean, you even think about like Earthquake, for example. He destroyed Hogan. You're like, man, he's got a shot to do this. Now, you were still expecting, it would be the top tier guys like Randy Savage or, Paul Orndorff was a guy that got hosed. He should have won that cage match. I'm a Hogan guy. He should have won that cage match. But there were a lot of legitimate threats that got presented to Hogan. King Kong Bundy. So many others that stepped up, and even Kamala. You made Kamala look good. And I think that there's a lot of people out there that you could throw into this mix and just absolutely make it fascinating. So we'll see. New Music Inferno, by the way, brought up another guy who I mentioned about a week or two ago, Matt Cardona, and said is push dead. Look, this is what I think about Matt Cardona. I think that Matt, you've got him as the kind of a melding of the new Matt Cardona and, Zack Ryder woo. I don't want that. You know what I want? I want Matt Cardona to be the deathmatch king. If say Cody wins, boy, and I'll tell you what, if Matt goes to that persona, man, how much fun would a match with Gunther be? Oh my God. Think about that one for a minute. And this is why I think it's okay right now to maybe move this title around a little bit. We've had so many long reigns with the Undisputed Championship. Man, let's bring it around a little bit. Could you imagine Matt Cardona coming back, winning a championship as the evil, the real brutal Matt Cardona and Gunther? Oh God! By the way, John Campbell, 8-7 chat box said Zeus. No, that was not a legitimate contender to Hulk Hogan. Sorry, Tiny Lister was not the guy. I was not excited about that feud at all. Good try though. Good try. I intentionally was thinking. I thought of him, and I didn't say it. But this could be a lot of fun, guys. This Clash in Italy is going to be something else. I've been teasing this for the last couple hours, for the last hour and a half now. So I thought I would get into this. Vince McMahon, Nick Khan, and a couple others, they made a boo-boo. Absolutely made a boo-boo. So when the merger with Endeavor happened and they had the sale, well, some of the stockholders weren't too happy about it, and they filed a lawsuit. Well, the Delaware court found the McMahon, Nick Khan, Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, and Brad Bloom used Signal, an encrypted messaging app, and the platform's auto-delete function to dispose of messages they had a legal duty to preserve. So now here's the big problem that they're going to have on this lawsuit. There are a group of facts that, the plaintiffs would have had to actually proven, but because they destroyed this evidence, the burden of proof switches. So now those guys are going to have to disprove that. And here are the points of contention. Emmanuel's promised to provide Vince with a continued role in any post-merger company after a transaction influences Vince's decision with respect to the merger. Emmanuel's offer of indemnification and other legal support related to pending federal investigations of Vince's alleged misconduct influenced Vince's decision-making with respect to the merger. Vince decided to pursue a transaction with Endeavor in 2022 before the company initiated the strategic review process. Khan communicated with Emmanuel between August and December 2022 to facilitate a transaction between WWE and Endeavor. Vince and Khan worked with Reign to steer the process toward a deal with Endeavor and away from the potential bidders. And some of those other potential bidders were bidding higher than what Endeavor did. There is a possibility that this could cost WWE around $173 million. That's a lot of money. And I'm just wondering if they're going to run to try and make a settlement now, because this really, really creates a tough situation in terms of the burden of proof. So better watch out, guys. Your ticket prices might be going up because these boys were bad boys. It's crazy. And by the way, also another interesting part to this, Brandon Thurston from WrestleNomics also won a court challenge to unseal confidential documents related to all this. Brandon's been on kind of they're not real happy with him at WWE, I'll tell you that. But doing some terrific journalism work. So yeah, I'll have to try and get Brandon on the show sometime. But, and I just saw in the chat box, Coach Rosey's going to be popping in soon from Jeff Jarrett weekend. So that'll be fun. Looking forward to that. But yeah, that is a fascinating story. That, some hijinks and shenanigans behind the AEW or the WWE sale to Endeavor, which ended up becoming TKO. We also have, by the way, speaking of some stock tips real quick, the Trump financial team apparently bought about between $15,000 and $50,000 worth of stock, TKO stock. So, if the Trump team's buying it, maybe you ought to consider it. Get a couple of them. So let's go back to some of this other stuff in the chat box. You guys were talking about the AAA match and the future for Chad Gable and Gunther. That got mentioned in the chat box. And Javon Campbell, 8357, the WWE splash is going to happen in AAA after that celebration of the only El Grande Americano has been confirmed. When he gets a AAA title, it's going to be big. I might slightly disagree with you on that. I wonder if this was the peak of that whole thing. And I know they love him down there, but you kind of got to wonder, where do you go? No, this was, you can't deny his popularity. But, will Ludwig Kaiser be become the champion of AAA? It's a good possibility. I mean, don't get me wrong. But you built this is one of those stories that you think about the Cody Rhodes finish the story kind of thing. And this story had built and built and built between WWE and AAA for months and months. Great long-term storytelling. And it was an accident. That's the really funny thing about some of the you think about some of the biggest WWE storylines of all time, and they fell into a bunch of them. If Chad Gable doesn't get hurt, is Ludwig Kaiser playing El Grande Americano? Nope. So then what? Now this is a historic match in AAA. I don't know if you get much bigger than that, but we'll see how the AAA fans react now that it's over. But God, they do love him down there. I mean, the irony of a German wrestler pretending he's an American wrestler who's pretending he's a luchador, and somehow that works. Don't tell me that the geniuses at WWE thought of that one. They didn't. It just got to happen. Also, some news: Leon Slater, his contract has come up with TNA, and I kind of had to laugh at this story. I'm sorry, but the stories coming out about him said, well, he's either going to sign with WWE or AEW. Yeah, I would think so. He's not staying in TNA, especially after they hosed him, taking the X Division title off him right before he was going to break the record. That was a little petty. But look, what do you expect from the kid? He and Javon Evans are two of the hottest young stars in pro wrestling. Huge future for those guys. So Leon Slater going to WWE or AEW, that is not a shock in the least. But I'm still shocked about this. Apparently Enzo Amore is still down hanging out at the Performance Center, and they want to put him on NXT. You can't necessarily plan the tag team reunion with him and Big Cass because Big Bill is still under contract with AEW for a little while. But man, it would be some quality entertainment to see those guys with the maturity and the changes that they made, especially, Bill had all the addiction problems and so on, to get those two back together and make a run. I'd love to see it. I think that would be a no-brainer for those two guys if they can get them back together to finally win the championships after all these years. But we'll be seeing Enzo Amore apparently on our TV soon. Oh, my God. I was just talking to a friend of mine about this. We were driving around and said, hey, my name is Enzo Amore. And it's still burned in your brain. So Enzo Amore apparently going to be making a comeback. All right, we're going to take one more break. And when we come back, we hear rumor Coach Rosen might be popping in from Jeff Jarrett weekend. So we'll wait and see if he pops in here. Somebody was a bad boy. Oh, God. The son of a great. Oh, and so much more as we continue on. Final segment of the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM. Talk of Las Vegas. We'll be right back.
Now is the time to refinance your auto loan with One Nevada Credit Union and put more chips back in your stack. With no payments for 90 days, you could score a better rate, lower your monthly payment, and keep more of your hard-earned money right where it belongs, in your pocket. That's money you can use for bills, savings, or a little more fun. It's fast, it's easy, and it's all about putting you in a better financial position. One Nevada Credit Union. We're all in with our members. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender. You wouldn't put your life savings into a slot machine, so why keep it at a big bank where every month can feel like a gamble? At One Nevada Credit Union, we aren't playing games with your money. You get stability, local service, and better rates. Stop pulling the lever and hoping for the best. Switch to One Nevada Credit Union. Don't gamble with big banks. Federally insured by NCUA.
You've got better things to do this summer than deal with old appliances. That's why right now at Lowe's, you can still get in on Memorial Day savings and get up to 45% off select major appliances. Plus, get up to an additional 25% off when you bundle select major appliances. It's time to upgrade what's outdated. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 6/3. While supplies last, selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Transform your bathroom with the beautiful quality of Bath Planet. As a trusted leader in bathroom renovation, Bath Planet has earned the Good Housekeeping seal, a symbol of quality and consumer confidence for over 100 years. Get half off installation or 18 months with no interest and no payments. Whether it's tub replacement, a shower replacement, or a tub-to-shower conversion, Bath Planet makes your custom bath fast, easy, and affordable. This special offer is only available by calling 800-208-8750. That's 800-208-8750.
Paid for by Bath Concepts Industries.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Now that Wendy's has these new biggie deals, everyone in the family can get what they're craving, from nugs to JBCs. The parental units can get an $8 biggie bundle, the eldest who think they're so grown can get a $6 biggie bag, and the little one who can do no wrong can get a $4 biggie bites. You know, assuming they have a credit card. No, I'm kidding. We take cash too. 4, 6, and $8 biggie deals for the whole family. Only at Wendy's.
Price and participation may vary. Single items at regular price. Prices may be higher in Alaska, California, and Hawaii.
1015 FM KDAWN.
You're listening to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Vegas, The Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Now, here again is Mark Hoke.
All right, we're going to get through one more segment and then I'm going to die. Sorry, guys. Not feeling well today. Oh, man, that was bad. I had the sweats and everything yesterday. I still kind of do. But, hey, you know what? The show must go on. And wish me luck for 8 hours at the sportsbook at Harrah's, by the way, if you want to come down and place a couple bets. You bet on the Knicks and Spurs NBA championship. Kind of a little bit of a surprise matchup there. Boy, is Wembanyama good. Oh, my God. He's a beast. And if he stays healthy, it's going to be rough. All right, so we're waiting to see if Coach is going to pop in here from Jeff Jarrett weekend. Hopefully we'll be able to get him on here soon. And like I said, I apologize. You can hear my voice is starting to wear out a little bit. But we had an unfortunate report as guy I reached out to, want to get him on the show sometime here. Curtis Axel. Oh, man, dude. Oh, you didn't do it. Got arrested with a DWI incident at a McDonald's drive-thru. Oh, my God. May 17th. Charged DUI driving while impaired, refusing to submit to a chemical test, disorderly conduct, obstructing legal process, failing to stop for an accident, having an open bottle of alcohol in his car. Yikes. Arrested in Anoka County, Minnesota. I have been to Anoka County, Minnesota. The police were dispatched to a McDonald's in St. Francis shortly before 9 p.m. local time after a property damage crash where a vehicle backed into another vehicle in the drive-thru. Yeah. Oh, geez. Axel slurred speech, bloodshot, watered eyes. 750 milliliter open bottle of Phillips vodka in the automobile. He would not leave the vehicle, had to be physically removed, and oh boy. So Curtis Axel in a little bit of trouble. But hopefully he'll get that all squared up. But once again, we are getting ready for Clash in Italy coming up here in just a little while. The beginning of the show is going to be airing on ESPN, and I know one of the matches that's going to be shown is the Gunther and Cody Rhodes match. It's interesting. The championship match is leading off the show. Okay. Is this the splash, everybody? Is this going to be the one that everybody's going to be like, oh my God? Of course, just kind of keeping an eye on the pre-show here. They're running a very interesting piece with Brock Lesnar right now. He doesn't look happy. Boy, he's in great shape, though, isn't he? Boy, he looked fantastic for WrestleMania. But that Clash in Italy coming up here, scheduled 10:30, might be 11. One of those start times. It'll be somewhere in that ballpark. But once again, that big card coming up. Cody Rhodes defending the Undisputed Championship against Gunther. Rhea Ripley defends her Women's Championship against Jade Cargill. Roman Reigns. Tribal Combat for the World Heavyweight Championship against Jacob Fatu. Becky Lynch, Sol Roca for the Women's Intercontinental title. Open Femi Brock Lesnar. With Paul Heyman in the corner. I think the most likely one that could change is this Cody Gunther. I'm an unabashed Gunther fan. I really am. I just love how he wrestles. Now he's a throwback, man. You know, when we have all these fast-paced high flyers, this is a guy that just grinds it out, beats the hell out of you, and gets out of the ring. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But this is going to be a fun card. Going to be a lot of fun. We also had mentioned the AEW pay-per-view buys. Managed to get some of those approximate numbers together. 15% above Revolution. Well, he thinks that number is going to be higher when the final. Meltzer thinks the number is going to be higher when it comes in. Revolution was 27% above World's End 2025. So Revolution was around 177. They're thinking that the Double or Nothing could have pulled 200,000 pay-per-view buys. All Out 2021 had 215,000. All in 2023, 200,000. All in 2025, 180,000, 185,000. Could you imagine if Double or Nothing beats that? Wow. I'm not big on the pay-per-view model, but it's working. I guess Tony can't be complaining too much. 200 times $50 is $1 million. Not bad. Yeah, so interesting stuff coming out of AEW there as well. But like I said, we're getting close to the time here. The Clash of Italy. And Liv Morgan on the screen right now. She's doing her thing, and she's got to wrestle. But I just wish she'd hit Peter Rosenberg and just knock him off the stage. Big E still hanging around, missing his New Day compatriots, who, of course, had a mutual parting of the ways with WWE. Can't wait for them to show up on AEW, man. Oh, my God. That is going to be fun. That is going to be fun. Let's see what else we got in here. Bear with me for a second. I'm just going through my notes. Oh, yeah. I almost missed this one. I had a laugh out of this. WWE head of digital media, Steve Bradman, is surprised how well the WWE Vault content is doing. He says he can't believe how some of these... I'm like, oh, dude. We had the WWE Network. The innovator. The first streaming service. The one that laid it all out for all these other companies to do streaming services. What did you think was going to happen? You throw this stuff up on YouTube and yeah, of course people are going to watch it. Pro wrestling fans, man. I just found that fascinating. It's like, oh, I'm doing well at my job. Good job. Good job. Let's look a little, I don't know if it's humid there in Italy. It probably is. But at least Liv is healed up from that horrible thing that happened to her with Stephanie McCare and the headbutt with Roxanne Perez. She's looking good now. Looking good. God bless Liv. So, guys, in the chat box, what do you think about Clash in Italy? Once again, this is going to be a fantastic card today. Does WWE pull a trigger? I wouldn't be so worried about the Intercontinental title, but these World Championship matches, they are pivotal matches, I think, for WWE. Because I will say this, the fallout, quite frankly, I mean, if they don't do something, yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. But I just think that when you look at, do you break the Cody Roman Rhea Ripley domination of these divisions? Do you do it? I think one of them, I think you got to pull the trigger on one of these. And I think it's also important because when people tune into these PLEs, you're paying $30 a month to get them. You want to see something happen. You want to see something that is going to make you say, oh, I want to see the next show. I want to tune into Raw. I want to tune into SmackDown. I can't wait for the next pay-per-view. So I really hope that something interesting happens today. But man, of course, could you imagine if Roman wins and then puts like a dog collar or something on Jacob Fatu, or I don't know. Oh God. I'm very, very curious about that match. I said, I think that the opportunity to pull the trigger there, at least for a little while, elevate Jacob. I don't think anybody would have a problem with it. Of course, they were talking about his health being in question today. So I don't know if, I have to maybe catch the pre-show here in a little bit, see if anything's updated on that. But we'll find out. Roman Reigns, Jacob Fatu coming up today. Of course, AEW, new world champion, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, getting the job done. Does he make it to All In? Does Kenny Omega possibly step in and win that championship before we get to All In, getting a match with Omega against what's likely going to be Will Ospreay? It's been building for a long time. So that's going to be fun to see what happens there. But I wouldn't mind. Like I said, I think there's a lot of potential for fun coming up here in the next few months. All right, guys, we are just about ready to wrap it up. I do want to thank you for your patience. I know I've been fighting a cold here pretty bad. So thanks for sticking in here with me with the Mark Hoke Show. We'd really appreciate it if you would follow us on X at Mark Hoke Show, if you have a second. And if you wouldn't mind giving us a like and subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, The Mark Hoke Show. We would certainly appreciate it. And, join the family, man. We have a great group of fans and more coming. And I don't know what Liv Morgan's doing on TV right now, by the way. Big E's just kind of looking at her funny and smiling. So I don't know. And then Pete Rosenberg's just sitting there like, I'm the man. Come to me. Whatever. All right, guys, that's going to do it. I'm going to go take some more cold medicine and try not to fall over and die here in the booth. Thanks for being with us today on the Mark Hoke Show. We'll see you next time, and we'll be talking about this Clash in Italy card and a whole lot more on the next edition of the Mark Hoke Show here, Sundays 8 to 10 a.m. on KDAWN. Thanks for being with us. Follow, and once again, get that Odyssey app too, AEDACY. Pick that thing up and listen to all the great shows on 220 stations in the Odyssey family. We'll see you next week, everybody. Have a great day, Las Vegas.
Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, and visit markhokeshow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join The Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.